So I'm just taking a break from writing, and I wanted to say and talk about how these people aim to kill me and why it was so hard to see the truth, because the truth in this one really hurt. It hurt a whole lot. But they aimed to kill me because they were trying to cover up the tracks of what I had the right to, and I still have the right to. But they're not allowing me to my rights, obviously. But I have the right to take the stand against my father in the courtroom for his rape and his molestation and his harming me in a foul way. And so that rape transpired into the system where it's been just bleeding out for the real to be real, real lies, real lies, real lies, like Tupac said it. So there's not many real eyes out here anymore because people are literally signing their souls away to make a record deal. And if they're making a record deal in that way with aims as well to let demons in their life, to have power of assertion through the music industry, through Hollywood, through controlling people's minds with these pixels on everyone's screens. Well, these people aim to kill me. And they already killed my whole life, truthfully. They killed everything sanctified in this life of everything and anything I could ever be. Like, you could throw $10 billion in my bank and I still wouldn't ever be the same as if any of this stuff as if none of this stuff happened. But that's literally in my prayers. And it's literally been in my prayers to take it there. And the reason I'm bringing those up is because these prayers aren't open door, open sesame. It's literally my testimony. And so having the right to your testimony when you are in a place being poisoned by a design, and then you don't have your mind, you don't have your memories, and you lose sight of your own prayers, your own availability of seeing things the way that you would otherwise see things. And so with that being said, those prayers that I now remember by calling back all of my energy, which took a long time, and calling back my autonomy, which took even that much longer, and I still haven't gotten either one, but I definitely haven't gotten my autonomy back still, because they keep hacking, they keep just deflecting, minimizing, being ghosts, being strangers, giving people the silent treatment, withdrawing their also propped up love as if they're loving, but they're not loving at all. And so I've been just trying to take power back into my life, to take all of the abuse that's been thrown my way and turn it into power out here somehow, where if I could get 1 million marching in that way for a real mission and a real cause. Not these stupid, silly foundations taking, these lobbyists' money. They're lobbying, and it's illegal. And all of the sanctions that they're making, it's all illegal for their foundations, for their stealing away the glory out of the cross of Jesus. They're literally aiming to steal up life, liberty, justice, the pursuit of happiness, and it's all unjust. So I know that it's a military operation. I know that there's feds included. I know that there's child protective services included. I know that there's police included. I know there's judges, lawyers included. I know that there's doctors and other people, down to your a janitor or a tow truck driver or like anybody. It's literally good against evil. That's literally what it's facing up with today, because we're in a spiritual awakening time of reality. The age of information is over, and it's the age of spirituality and spiritual awakening, and people are either going to deny their own eyes to be able to see things the way that they actually are, or have reasons for denying and withdrawing their also pumped up value of love, right? To go ghost, treat people like, to perform like a whole silent treatment over a bloody state of the art of crime. And it's coming from within these very systems that have breeded predators. Like, they were set up originally to protect the kids and protect the youth and protect our rights, but that's not what they're doing now. It's not. They're utilizing these crimes to enhance more crime. And now that we see it, we know that our from the birth certificate being faking to steal up our lives, to be in a slave-made open-air prison system, to steal up all of your time, energy, and worth. It's called energy harvesting. To the fact that they have like up to 3 trust funds that are created when you get a ticket and you go to court, or when they make up a reason for courts. It's actually against the law for them to pretend that the state is a person, or to pretend that is their reasoning for taking you to court. Like, anywhere you see state of whatever against the defendant, it's actually illegally made. And then you have right to face your accuser, but they're not even allowing you to face your accuser. So many avenues, the case against you should be thrown out of the courts. Just completely bye. But that's just it. They want their $5 million and their $2.2 million and their trust funds that are funded through these campaigns that are legitimately to steal your life, steal your livelihood. It's about trafficking your person. So that I'm too on point about my studies and I know the truth, it's like, well, why did you even have us have the internet if you didn't want us to discover the truth? Because they've been leaving it in plain sight for people that are actually willing to study the human condition, So if we're not allowed to study the human condition, and they legitimately want to think like, oh, we deserve to get away with rape, we deserve to poison them up all out of their minds, and because we're able to poison them all up out of their minds for 40 years, and we got all these crimes and proxy warfares and artists of these proxy warfare criminals trying to literally traffic your person in and out of every single situation that you've ever been in with the law. Well, then you literally have people that are willing to not only work in that manner, but lobby with their very own sick and twisted, sadistic-minded fucks that work within the government, that are also working in with the satanic ritual abusers out here. Same thing as bloody walls you know, Minnesota senator, what's his name, Mike Walls or Tim Walls or Jim Walls or whatever the fuck his name is. I think it's Tim. But anyway, he's been given a plaque, and it's literally in the capital of St. Paul to like, you could go in there and see, oh, thanks so much, guy. We needed more of the satanic Luciferian churches to be able to perform our acts through the synagogue, or whatever it says. It's just like propping him up, like, good job, buddy. We're going to pat you on the back. It's a good job. Well done, sir. Initiating the satanic ritual abuse. We need more people like you. We're going to pump you up with nice funding. We're going to fund you really nicely. Yeah, good job, you fucking spree mason, crime spree, addict, fucking abusive, demon, fucking cowardice rats. But, you know, just so people are aware that even if they get away with, like, stealing lives and stealing our bodies, like, we actually have everlasting life as true saints and Christians, and the true people that the Lord, thy Lord's will be done in our lives to anoint us. And anyone to suggest that we're not able to have that relationship, even in the moments of like being poisoned, being lost, innumerable times, mind you, like 300 times, I don't know, a lot of times, dude. I think it's more than that even in my personal life. But when we're in those states where we're reaching through for discovery of our what's going on here, we're like literally we're literally breaking down because we can't think, because our brains, our bodies, our hearts, our organs, they're all starving of oxygen. And so that they're like literally starving us out of oxygen, or starving me out of oxygen in that way, then they want to take that starved of oxygen body and suggest that what their outcome is through that satanic ritual abuse, that's who they are. That's who they are, like, all together. And it's all projection. So if you don't know what projection is, look it up. And then anybody else that doesn't want to think to what the pixels are doing with their television programming, telling lies to your vision, tell lie vision, that it was made in that way specifically to control people's minds with MK Ultra, realizing that colors and scheme patterns like this can control the mind. And that's what they're working. That's what they do. That's how they perform. It's mind control. Govern is to govern over, like authority over, and ment. If you break down in etymology, government, it's mentis is the word, which is the mind. So it's to control the mind. Anyway, so these pixels that people are using and the programming that they're initiating inside of people's lives is what MK Ultra wanted to perform in this way. They said that they stopped, doing these things to target their own citizens. Back in what was that? The 70s somewhere. Ronald Reagan, I think. I could be wrong there, but somebody said that they had stopped it and they put an end to it. But even if they stopped it in transmission, they didn't stop it from transmuting into something else completely, which is what I believe we're dealing with the gang stalking programming that's going on out here. So it's all tightly knit with the satanic ritual abusers. And then anyone that wants to suggest that it's not, well, I'd like to have like a conversation with you and an open dialogue about it without, violence. But that I don't think they want that, because now that people are hip to this stuff and they're awake to what's actually happening in their world, these cucks don't want to face us. It's the same thing as the poisoners themselves that worked in proxy, all wanting to stage up that ghost and be the malignant, covert narcissists that they are, to stage up for a total discard of you, or of me, my person. They worked up the discard because they wanted me to not only feel the emotional turmoil, the physical turmoil, the mental turmoil, and any of the turmoil that was coming back to me from the realities of my past. So it was like me thinking back to Emily performing in the same way, me thinking back to how other people performed in the same ways, to psychologically abuse their victims so bad, to create that psychological operation and psychological war-made zone for a person's reality, to suggest to throw them inside of a suicidality, which they did, suggesting that you're depressed, you need to be on something, blah 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 blah. But it's all sorcery and witchcraft, and it's written right there in the Bible that these things of the world will deceive all of us, will deceive all mankind. And I believe it's a heavy deception. So personally, I think that has already initiated, that has already been done. We've all been completely duped by a world's design that suggests its care, that suggests its availability to learn, when it's like literally telling you what to think, what to drink, how to establish their little Blue's Clue as far as what they want you to understand. But anything that is actually real, they want to strip away from you. So no critical thinking in classes anymore, no training on money or where money comes from and how to utilize money to grow a real true value. The only thing that they have is like the campaigns for their own funding and their own satanic ritual abusers to say, sign your name here, sign at the dotted line, and it would really help if you signed it in blood, so that you can get into Hollywood, and you can get into the music industry, and you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. And then that's where the satanic ritual abusers perform this state-of-the-art of sex trafficking crimes. That's where they perform the satanic ritual abuse. And then it's bled straight into the systems to where it's completely covered with satanic ritual abusers that do not care about law. And we should never, as people, have to sue the government and sue the laws or sue the lawmen in order to get them to perform their oaths of office. If they can't perform their oaths of office, they need to roll over. Get the fuck out. What you're doing is absolutely tyranny, and it's treason inside of America to bring in these systems that are suggesting, like Obamacare, to literally tie everyone's name to the blood banks or whatever they were doing, to figure out how to insert into families, to strip them apart so that they can get children isolated, alone, and set up for human trafficking. Regardless if it's sex trafficking or human trafficking your person in and out of a system that's not even designed to protect the innocent anymore, and its jurisdiction of their legality is well beyond driven into the occult, to where, just like I said, they're making money off of my person. It's an energy harvest of all of my energy and all of people's energy to get people into these courts. So if they get you into the courts and they're making millions off of you? Do you think that your life is going to matter versus their lobbying, pedophile, pedigree-ass pieces of shit that want to put in that money so that they can split it however many different directions? No. They're not going to care about you. They're not going to care about your worth. They're not going to care about your rights. They're not going to care about your home, your car, your job, your life, your anything, because they can make money on killing you, basically. Well, yeah, literally killing you. If not killing you in reality, it's killing your sanctimonium, which is legitimately the same thing as murder, to murder someone's spirit from the time they are born. It's spiritual murder. And then because they're working in this spiritual murder and constantly poisoning up their own, they have some heavy, very, very heavy hearts that would need to turn to the Lord and repent of all of their sins in hopes, in just the sheer hope that when their heart stops, they might have everlasting life. Because it's in the Lord, because it's not only in the Lord's Prayer, but it's also in the Gospels to forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they don't. They don't understand it. It takes a real courage to establish wisdom, because the genius of this world in this fashion is weak. It is gutter trash weak, and these people are simpleton jokes. They can go ahead and shake up anything that they want. They can go ahead and portray anything that they want. They're gutter trash jokes. We've drawn the line in the sand. They've crossed that line, doubly crossed it, quadruply crossed it, and then some. When they're talking about poisoning someone up out of their skull, you're talking about poisoning someone's reality to get them trafficked this way in the first place. Then the deniability from your own medical department to be able to take that away from you, take that reason away from you because of the poisons, and suggest that their diagnostics manual, their DSM manual, is more important to these worldly cucks than the Holy Bible, the King James Version Holy Bible. Because they're transferring the language, you see, in the English language. Because you have 3 different types of English, and then some probably, but you have regular English, then you have Ebonics, which is actually really smart. It's not stupid to utilize creative value for how words are to be, and how it's to come out of our vocabulary, because our vocabulary, our tongues, are literally speaking into the frequency that God made everywhere, like the free energy that God made, that they're trying to clone with these stupid cell phone towers, specifically so that they can drive a different frequency into the minds of people. Voice to skull technology. They can, and they have patents out on this shit, so I know what I'm talking about. And then because their patents and their willingness to use the satanic ritual way to take away that God speak, heart spoken language, however you want to say it, it's to literally take people's tongues and tie them in a twisted fashion to where they're actually speaking decrees over people and people's lives that are literally hurting that person, regardless of where they're saying it, in front of them, away from them, behind their backs, with their own families, states and states apart. It doesn't matter, because they're speaking to that frequency, and that's what changes things. So that's why the dark occult works. That's why the satanic ritual abuse works, is because they're literally saying spells. It's spelling work. Then the third, you have the legalese in the Black's Law Dictionary, which is literally taking the meaning of the words, translating it into their legal definition, specifically to take over both English, regular standard English, and Ebonics, the way people talk. And so if they can make that legalese to be a substandard for their legal jurisdiction or their legal proclamation of how they want to perform these crimes over said trafficked soul, said trafficked individual, it's all satanic. And then if they're fine, like, moving on without actually having spiritual eyes enough to see it, I don't know, they must feel pretty cold-blooded, because they must really want to enjoy heat for an eternity in, like, really, God type of wrath way. And if they're not scared of God's wrath from the things and visions that people are actually seeing and actually having dreams about, then I feel sorry for you guys. I do. You can try and kill up every last little sanctified thing about life, so you all cucks can have whatever you want, and make fake Play-Doh money, make a digital currency to get people a digital ID, so that targets, instead of being targeted the way we're targeted today, they could just be shot off. Tap on, tap, 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 enter. And then they just go, yay, we did it. We're such evil cucks. We got away with taking his life away. Here's your cut, 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 here's your cut. And then they're like, just whatever. They're gutter trash jokes of mankind. Think however you want. It's a free world. But that's why I'm choosing to speak out about it now, because not only have I understood this stuff for a long time as far as through my studies, but it took a lot of studies, and if I never did those studies, I wouldn't be here. No way. I would be dead, 2018 or something. Or I would have been, without doing prayer, in the circumstances of being first poisoned up, I wouldn't be here at 1987 or some shit. And the Twins won the World Series. I wouldn't be here many times over if it wasn't for the Lord is in control, and the fact that these cucks are really trying to rip the keys out of Jesus' hands, and that you lived through many times of trying to kill you. It's pretty embarrassing to these people that think that they can just get away with murder. So slow down, y'all. Slow down. If you can't go on your knees and pray and repent for your sins, then in that setting, and I'm not judging, I'm not taking God's judgment away, I'm just legitimately saying what's in the Bible, with what's written in the Gospels, is you will be thrown into a lake of fire. And you can think that Satan's going to try and put you up in some kind of mansion or whatever. These, I don't know how they're tricking people's minds. I really don't understand that. I mean, as far as that's concerned, it's like, sure, if you can traumatize a person good enough and for long enough, then you can get them into Stockholm syndrome, going back to the perpetrators who are performing these crimes, because that's happened. That's been my life. But as far as the perpetrators go, as far as the actual reality of getting a person's mind to flip into becoming that evil and not wanting to move away from that evil, no matter what evil that you have gone into, because it's to forgive people for they know not what they do. And if there's not that forgiveness, then they're just literally trying to drive that wedge into people's minds. It's mental abuse, psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, chemical warfare, proxy warfare, assaults through your actual reality, your actual love life, your work life, your everything, so that these cucks can go ahead and think of getting away with this crime. Okay, go ahead, cucks. Feel so proud of yourself. Put on your suit. You're nothing but a joke. If you work in this fashion, if you wear a badge, you're nothing but a joke. If you dress up in a robe and you work in this way, you're nothing but a fucking joke. And so that's just what they don't like. Right there. They don't like being called out for their crimes and their actions, because they literally want to work this mission over people's lives to suggest that they're all hoity-toity and look at what we can do, and we're supposed to be they're like propping themselves up as the mighty men in this world that you have to look up to, when they're just nothing. They are mighty midgets with having to work in these, occultists design, surveillance, this, that, and the other. I mean, having literally many, many people, like a whole community of people coming up against one individual to silence that one individual and put them into the ground and do an early grave, and they still didn't after that many attempts. Fuck you. Fuck you. You are nothing but sick fucks, man. You are such sick fucks, man. And they don't like it. So obviously, when it's close to your own, of course they're gonna go ghost. They're gonna withdraw. Any love at all, any support at all, they're gonna go ghost completely. They're gonna minimize and deflect, and they're gonna call you delusional and thump through their DSM manual and be like, oh my gosh, they're this one right here. It's called paranoid delusional. Like anything that these cucks can create with their whole worldly ass shitty design. They're fucking clowns. They are fucking jokes. So anyway, these people suggest I don't write. I literally have 20 to 25 pages left of this notebook. And legitimately I've filled probably about 18 to 22 notebooks in the past while, from getting my mind to come back to me from memories about what I had been living, where it's before I would be poisoned up being oh, I must have writer's block. I don't know what to write. And you literally go back in my old writings and it's you literally read, right? I personally can see it, and I don't know if anyone else was to pick through any notebook, they could literally read through the fact that this person was lost. They were trying to discover what was going on within their reality without being able to see that reality because of a covert poisoning. And if you wouldn't be able to read that and see that, then I would just call you just a simpleton dumb fuck, because that's legitimately what I see now. And I also have mental capacity back to be able to write and keep writing, and legitimately I just got done writing 3 songs, and it's these things just flow out of me, they come out of me, and they're I can't actually write fast enough to get all of what's out here out. And these 3 songs, I've literally thought of another 20 songs or 25, 30 songs. It's it leads me to further work. I don't have writer's block at all. At all. So people can go ahead and think whatever they want to there as well. Johnny Lee or Jesse Lee's buddy or whoever's buddy in the proxy warfare that wants to create a second version of me while suggesting that I don't write my own stuff and that I'm not a real artist. Well, they've been fucking me around this whole fucking time in my life. Like, damn it, man. Who the fuck are you? And then they're hypocrites as all get out, because they're like, you're not an artist, but we're literally taking your content, cutting you up, putting you back up on a second account or a third account, or creating these smear campaigns. That's not art. That's not your own art. You're like illegally imitating my personification, A, and then secondly, you're taking that personification and you're straight up like trying to get me into a reaction to react on it, which I'm just giving a little bit of my thoughts here. But my thoughts here is exactly this. You see that account and it's not my account, report it. Because I've already had 3-4 people, including myself, report it, and nothing's being done because of how these sick motherfucking operators work in Silicon Valley. And I gotta be a Mark Zuckerberg so that I can steal everyone's thoughts away from them, bubble wrapping their content. And they should all be paying you, the content creators, you, the people that are out here actually making money, or actually making them their money. So that's kind of like where a lot of people have been deriving to create, is like a real safety network for people, and they're literally just stopping us at all fronts. They don't want us to create our own operating systems. They don't want us to create our own websites. They don't, because they have shitty ideas. They like I said, they're literally jokes. And if you want to think like $200 million isn't good enough for an underground bunker for Zuckerberg, then go fuck yourself. But it's a lot worse than that. It's 200 billion. That's with the B, dude. A B, a 200 billion. And trust me, he makes more than that on your work. You're accepting it as a free network to be out on Facebook. So go ahead and think whatever you want, but you should have the slice of pie that you created within your own networks to go on. And that's precisely, I think, why there's still evil cucks in the world, like these proxy warfare artists that legitimately want to hack you, data map you, track your loves, hates, what you fear, all sorts of things, to continuously to go to work on your life, poison you up by a design, to stake you away from your life, to perform this identity theft, identity erasure, because they're flat out jokes. Flat out. They can't fight fair. They wouldn't know how to fight fair. Sign a document, let's step into a ring, and let's fight fair. Like, I'm not gonna do anything to put poisons on my gloves or anything. I mean, I wouldn't trust them for shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't actually do this, but I'm just suggesting to you that they don't know how to fight fair at all. They have no ability of knowing how to fight fair, how to think right. Their minds are a jungle. They're a mess. They're literally just psycho fucks, and they're just a mess. Mess is all can get out to be. So anyway, enjoy the jokers out here. But literally in the end, no matter what happens to the sanctity of this life, because of humanity being super dumb, evil cucks, enjoy your and either enjoy your prayers and to the end, and hopefully, and I still have high hopes on the Lord being mightier than the sword, when the sword is literally taking over all aspects of a sanctified life. And I think people really should start thinking that way in their prayers and praying ceaselessly, because it's time. It's time. And if they don't want to turn around from their evil cuck ways, and they literally want to be jokes of men, allow them to be jokes. But I think people should be out here then telling them that they're flat out fucking jokes. Anyway, till next time, peace. I love you guys.